Much like any other good RPG, Dragon's Dogma 2 has multiple endings that you can access, with one of which changing the entire world that we're playing the game in, whilst also giving us the true ending of Dragon's Dogma 2. So today I'm going to show you how you can access this secret ending so you can go and replicate it in your games and obviously continue on with the story. Now of course, for everybody that has completed the game, you're probably familiar with this scene, and spoiler alert for those of you that haven't, this is the final fight at the end of the game to defeat the dragon that you obviously have that connection with. Before you actually enter that fight, you will be talking to the dragon whilst he's flying through the air, as you can see on screen, and when you get to sort of like his midriff area on his back, your chest along with the dragon's chest will start glowing yellow. Hopefully for most of you this would be enough to sort of indicate something should be happening, or at least you're having that connection with the dragon. But if you're like me, the first time going through this cutscene I was more intrigued as to what the dragon was saying and potentially going to fight this dragon, and didn't realise that I was actually supposed to activate something here, and that something was the God's Bane blade. So yes, this is how you access like the secret areas and the true ending of the game. In this particular cutscene, whilst you're flying through the air, whilst your chests are glowing, you need to open up your inventory and use the God's Bane blade, because once you do so, you will then have it equipped in your hand, and your attack prompt, so your X or your Y button, or your square and your triangle button for you PlayStation lovers, will then become a prompt to use the sword on yourself, essentially defeating you along with the dragon that you're riding. And that is how you start the process to get the true ending in Dragon's Dogma 2. And for those of you wondering why I'm not showing you that in the background, it's because a certain YouTuber, aka moi, decided to delete the footage. Well, I didn't decide to, I did it by accident, so I don't have the footage of me using said item. But like I say, although I can't physically show you it, you do need to open up your inventory like how you would to use any other item, and although there's no prompts on screen other than your chest glowing, you will be able to use the sword. And if for whatever reason it's still not working even though you're on the dragon's back, go to his chest where obviously that cut is open, where the heart is pulsating, and you will definitely be able to use it there. And again, for anybody that continued to ride on the dragon and get to the battlefield and defeat him, you are probably familiar with this cutscene and probably thought that that was it, the game was over. Well, if you have done that, don't worry, you can still actually go back and access this secret ending, because if you reload your game after watching that particular cutscene, you will be transported back to this courtroom, and all you need to do is speak to the Pathfinder who is sitting by the throne. After speaking to him for the first time, you will then move to the middle of the room, which you can then speak to him again, and you'll be teleported back on top of the dragon whilst he's flying through the sky. And then hey presto, you can use the sword here. Either way, whenever you use the sword, you will then enter a very interesting cutscene, and at the end of it will be in an entirely different version of the map, otherwise known as the Unmoored World. As you can see on screen, this version of the world is a lot more barren, and it's very clear that the darker energy is trying to take over it. Essentially what is happening right now is the Arisen is trying to break the cycle of the Dragon's Dogma, trying to save the world and its people from being contained within the dragon's will, and there are a bunch of new quests and side quests in this area obviously tied to that theme, as you need to evacuate all of the major cities and put a stop to this corruption. And just before you get started and obviously do this for yourself, you do have a limited amount of time whilst you're in the Unmoored World. I believe it's around about 12 days, including the quote-unquote first day, which is the day that you arrive after watching the cutscene, which is more than enough time to get everything done in this area. But obviously just be extremely careful when you're traversing through these areas, because if you take too much damage and say need to rest up, then you're going to waste a morning. So just make sure that you're fully equipped, maybe got a bunch of potions, so that obviously you can make it around nice and safely. And also just to let you know, at this point in the game, all of the vendors would have also restocked on their fairy stones and you can actually find a whole bunch a lot easier, or at least I tended to find a lot more in chests, as well as getting them through quest rewards. So if you are worried about moving around, don't worry too much, because fairy stones are a lot more common, and all of the port crystals in the different areas will be activated as well, even if you didn't activate them in the base game. And as I say, that 12-day cycle is more than enough time to get everything done, because there are 5 areas that you need to evacuate if you want to fully complete this sort of endgame content, which are the Sacred Arbor, Vermouth Town, Back Batal, the Excavation Site, and the Volcanic Camp. But if you don't want to do that, you don't have to, and the main point of this area is to close the multiple portals that have appeared, the red portals that is, to stop this corruption and end the Dragon's Dogma cycle. There are about 4 or 5 of these portals, all with different enemies that spawn in after activating them, and these bosses are relatively easy. They're just more time consuming because they've all got weak spots which you need to destroy in order to deal damage to them. As you can probably see in the background, these bosses will have a sort of like pink coating over them, which is the corruption essentially, and after destroying one of their weak points, their body becomes more exposed, exposing more weak points, and after you destroy enough of them, their heads then become vulnerable, and that is the way that you defeat them. So essentially, you got to do that about 4 or 5 times, and then one final portal will then emit in the seafloor shrine area, and that is the final portal that after activating it will start the end cutscene. Also, just to let you know, this cutscene and this portal activation is a point of no return. So if you still have a few outstanding quests in this area, I highly recommend that you complete those first before activating this final portal, as you will have no chance to go back and finish those quests other than going into New Game Plus or starting a new character to obviously get back to this location in that new game. But as I say, if you just want to get to the true ending, all you need to do is close off those portals and use Gigantis one final time, and that will then unlock that final portal and give you access to the true ending of Dragon's Dogma 2. So yeah, that is how you get the true ending, as well as having access to another sort of, 4 or 5 hours worth of gameplay, exploring the unique endgame content, and obviously have a much better ending than the one in the base game. So hopefully this video has helped you out and given you a bit of guidance on to do that. And if this has helped you out, or if you've enjoyed it in any way, please be sure to hit that like button down below. It helps me out a lot, and it lets me know that you guys are enjoying the Dragon's Dogma 2 content on the channel. I've got plenty of more videos coming up in the future, so if you want to stick around for the rest of the Dragon's Dogma 2 content, make sure that you're also subscribed by hitting the button down below. And like I say, just make sure that you do absolutely everything before activating that end cutscene, because that is essentially why I couldn't go back and use the Godsbane sword on the dragon again, because I watched the cutscene and then you only get the choice to either start again in New Game Plus or create a brand new character. So yeah, just make sure that you're happy with everything that you've done in the game so far, and essentially prepare yourself for New Game Plus before you even consider doing the secret ending. But with all of that said, I've waffled on enough now, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. Go and have fun in this secret area and let me know how you get on. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I guess I'll catch you in the next video of whatever it is that we make. Bye bye.